So books. I think all of us had to read at least some books in our lives. And some of us even enjoy reading books if we don't have to. I definitely belong to this group of people. I really love books. I love the stories, being able to learn more, relaxing with a good story, looking into the head of the author or diving into a completely different universe. And I even want to publish at least one book in my life. But I don't own any books. Let me tell you why that is, and let me share my thoughts with you on how you maybe can get to the exact right number of books for you, because that doesn't mean that you need to have no books at all. I think all of you know that I am a minimalist, so that is a pretty obvious reason for decluttering my books, at least. Maybe not for not owning any, and I do have to be very honest, I do own one book at the moment. I'm talking more about that in the video that I'm linking you up here. It's just one that I wanted to read for a second time, which usually doesn't happen, but for this one it did. So as a minimalist, I think like the core principle of minimalism is looking closely at your physical things, at the things you spend your time with, at the things you spend your energy on, and deciding intentionally what adds value to your life. And everything that doesn't add value can leave. We really don't need to keep any of the things that just add weight to our life. If we talk about books, it's actual physical weight. If we talk about other things, it's maybe only like a mental load or stress or things like that. But as a minimalist, I really try to, keep these things out of my life, or at least declutter them if they are already in my life. And so usually when we declutter our lives as minimalists, the category of books is one that we want to conquer. But I think especially when we talk about books, people are very split. Like there are people that say like, I don't care about books, let's just get rid of all of them. And the other half, or like another part, I don't know if it's 50-50 or I don't know. But the other part of people is more like, no, I could never give away books. Book is the only thing that I really want to collect, that I want to keep, that I love, that I just can't declutter. And sometimes it isn't even very like intentional. It's more so that you just can't seem to get rid of books. The thought of decluttering a book is just hard. Even if I don't have a problem with parting with books, I can assure you that I really love books, that I really love reading. But the way I do it is through using my library membership, getting books from open bookshelves in my city where everybody can just take books they want and bring books they have read and don't need anymore. That's also what I do with all the books that I like own and then want to give away. And the other way that I get books is that I have a list of books that I'd like to read, and whenever somebody wants to give me a physical gift for my birthday or for Christmas, they can get me one of the books on this list, and then I read them, and when I'm done reading and when I think that I'm not gonna read that book again, I'm gonna give it to these open bookshelves, that's so that somebody else can enjoy the book, which makes it more sustainable and which makes it just possible maybe also for people to read books that otherwise wouldn't have bought that book or couldn't have bought that book. And so I think that's like a sharing economy thing that really works well, that I really love supporting. But to become a minimalist, or just to declutter a few of the books I had or you might have, I think there are a few things that we should consider. I think it's the same as with everything else. We do declutter the things that do not add value to our lives. But with books, it's a bit more difficult, I think. Because usually it's not the book itself, like it's not the paper that really adds value to our lives. It's the story, it's the universe, it's the experience. But if we think about that, then I definitely enjoy the experience of reading the book much more than I enjoy buying bookshelves, putting my books there, dusting my books, and owning these books and moving with these books. So I think it's pretty clear that I care more about what's in the book than the book itself. Because I think it only makes sense to keep a book if you want to read it again, if the paper actually gives you joy. And while that doesn't happened to me. It could in the future, and I definitely know that some people experience a lot of joy from like a physical book, just the item itself, not even the story. Another reason would be if you made notes in this book that are very valuable to you, it maybe could make sense to keep that book. But for all the books that you haven't read and you actually don't see yourself reading them in the next few months, like you don't feel like you really want to read the book, or for all the books that you have read but thought like they were okay, maybe you don't even remember, but they were definitely not your favorite, or you don't plan on reading them again, I think these books can go. Now, of course, we all have to decide that for ourselves, and everybody has to kind of figure out what the right balance is between owning a bunch of heavy books and feeling dragged down by them, or being very happy about all these beautiful stories that are in your home, making it more cozy, and really getting value from these paper books. Another problem I think that exists with books is that we sometimes view them kind of as a collection. And I think there we really have to try to be super honest with ourselves. I think it wouldn't be too bad to rip apart a series of books, like not the actual book, but if you say that like part 3 is just my favorite book, I want to keep part 3, but I want to give away like part 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, then that's okay too. I don't know what happened to part 5. And the other thing is that some people believe that you're only like a book lover, or that you only are an educated person, that you only have like a cozy home if you have a ton of books. And I strongly want to say that that is not true. You know best what kind of person you are. You don't have to display that in your home. And I think the physical items we own, like the fact that we own them, that cannot represent us. It cannot really change us. And in the end, even if people view us in a different way, it doesn't matter, because the only thing that matters is how we actually are, and that we can be in contact with other people in that way, being authentic, and they seeing our authentic self. And I have a whole video talking about exactly that topic that I'm gonna link you up here. It's about how things represent us. Also, clothes for some people seem to be very important to like show off a certain image. And while that's totally fine, I just think that the fact of owning books cannot make us more intelligent, more of like a book lover. So maybe my example is a bit drastic, that the usual number of books I own is 0, that I do not own any books right now. Again, I do own 1 book, and I'm gonna give it away once I've read it for the 2nd time. But you don't have to see it this way. I totally understand people that own books. I think books are beautiful. I think books can give you a lot of joy. And I still do think that maybe a lot of people have more books than are actually adding value to their life. So I think everybody can try to look at their bookshelf, see if there are books that are not adding value, and getting rid of those. They can make your home a lot lighter, make your next move a lot easier. They can bring in some money if you want to sell them. They make the book more sustainable because more people can read it, and they can bring joy to another person who wants to read it way more than you, because if it's just sitting on the bookshelf, I'm not sure it's actually adding value to your life. If you have a hard time getting rid of books, one thing you can do is putting them away, consider them decluttered, and just see over the next few months if you miss them. And if you miss any, you can take these back and declutter the rest. Another thing you can do is, of course, taking a photo of the cover if you're not sure if you want to read it again, and you can declutter the books then, and maybe just get the book from a library or buy it again if you really want to read it again. Because I think when it comes to that, it maybe seems like it's a waste of resources, of money, if you declutter a book to then buy it again. But usually if we declutter 1,000 things, we miss maybe 3 things. And I think most of the time it's still worth it to then have 997 things less that we actually don't need to be happy and that don't add value to our lives. So now I would be really interested in knowing how many books you keep, if you actually enjoy reading, or if you read all of your books on like a digital device, an ebook reader, or your phone. And I think there are so many solutions that work perfectly if you're calling yourself a minimalist. or if you're not a minimalist, I think books are an amazing thing, but we really don't need to have the physical books to be book lovers or to enjoy reading. That said, it can also happen that in the future I will have a bookshelf and collect books. Maybe I will have a copy of my own book if I manage to write and publish one day. And I think with that we're at the end of this video. If you liked it, you can give it a thumbs up because that would really support my channel. And if you want to see more videos, I am going to link you a video and a playlist that you can check out if you have time and if you want to see those right now. And I also hope to see you in my next video. Bye!